you say DNM is only ratchet feel, well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guys. Trinidadian talking black power. It's not wrong for a man to love his culture. Yes, you walk around with your afro plait and you're dragging alpagat and fat sapat. But although they're rapping about Africa, you're eating roti like if you're born in India. So who you go blame when you make your book and end up like a cat on a hunting room? Because you say you're going Afro all the way. You smile when they bring in Tony May. William say he want to retire. You beg him to stay a little longer. You reject Carl's act on public order. Now you want the same Carl for Prime Minister. Like your sense of reasoning goes and comes. It won't surprise me if you call back Albert Guns. You say that you didn't want your dictator, yet you want one fella to reign forever. Aborted Malik, you say he guilty. Parmasadi the same, yet you set him free. Long ago you didn't want Fidel Castro, but now you say the same Castro is a hero. Well, this attitude, like Humpty Dumpty, you might fall off the wall eventually. Because you say Butler was too high-handed, marriage uneducated. You say that we can't trust Jamada. You find Sukaran to Konkosa. You say the accent is on the young man, yet you run and call back Ashford Sinanan. But you won't call back until you call disaster, like the colonial days of the slave master. Mr. Trinidad, tell me what scene you on. Do you just like political confusion? You criticizing the way you live, yet you can't produce an alternative. You say you against the power structure. You ain't like the opposition either. But take care, you jump out the hot water and end up in the center of the fire.
Yes, indeed, of course. Pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South, South, Central, friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good night. Yes, indeed, of course, it is the Saturday edition of the Corridor Transformation. I had a wonderful time yesterday, but of course, that has come and gone. But of course, the responsibility of bringing the information, creating, of course, the salubriousness, or should I say, making it more receptive to, of course, all and sundry. And so, of course, tonight is no exception. Let us say, of course, last week, I think the last time when we were around, I call him, of course, Saipa. But no, of course, it is, of course, the maestro. The maestro is singing that tune. Of course, it is questioning the Trinbagonian. What kind of people you are, or we are. Because it seems as though when we see good, we prefer to gravitate to bad. Listen to the great maestro, the late.
Is a traitor. You say what's that about Ranger? You say Kamal seeking his own interest. You call Millet a Marxist Leninist. You are ODAC, neither DLP, and you say PNM is only ratchet feel. Well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guys. Trinidadian, talking black power. It's not wrong for a man to love his culture. Yes, you walk around with your afro plait and you're dragging alpagat and fat sapat. But although they're rapping about Africa, you're eating roti like if you're born in India. So who you go blame when you make your book and end up like a cat on a hunting room? Because you say you're going Afro all the way. You smile when they bring in Tony May. William say he want to retire. You beg him to stay a little longer. You reject Carl's act on public order. Now you want the same Carl for Prime Minister. Like your sense of reasoning goes and comes. It won't surprise me if you call back Albert Gums.
Yes, indeed, of course. I thought it was very appropriate, of course, to use that particular piece of music that was created back in the 60s. Of course, we would have had as a consequence of another piece by the maestro, where, of course, he talked about to serve with love. And of course, in that piece, as we would recall, he also questioned, of course, the society called Trinidad and Tobago, and the whimsicality, and the capriciousness, and the apparent don't know what you want scenario. And as if, of course, there is a gravitational pull to evil and wickedness, but not by the people themselves, but to persons who claim to be Trinbagonians and are interested in the development of Trinidad and Tobago, and then they deliver ache, pain, agony, stress, and distress. And of course, the Rowley administration is no exception. It has demonstrated, and it is our contemporary and of course recent memory and or history. And now that it is 10 years later, after 2015, we have seen our chosen leaders implode, collapse. It's a shambolic state of affairs. And while they claim stability, and while they claim longevity, we have to question, of course, the quality of the delivery and the governance in spite of the longevity and, of course, possessing power in this country, and what we have gotten in exchange for giving them that power. You see, it appears to me, and clearly among others who are observing, that the party called the PNM and those who are functionaries therein, especially at the leadership level, and we can, of course, identify several eras to, of course, achieve or accomplish, they have that arrogance and that contempt that somehow Trinidad and Tobago belongs to them or belong to them. I want to tell you that is a fallacy. I want to tell you that is a figment of somebody's imagination. But nonetheless, it is a reality. You see, they have the propensity, the proclivity, and the what I consider to be the utterances, the narrative to tell us that, listen, they are the best. They have, of course, ruled the longest. And when you critically examine it, you see that it is more camouflage, more braggadocio, more bombastic disposition, making claims that really has no basis in reality. And as we have said before, the amount of money, resources, and creativity in terms of our economic advancement and or evolution, we have seen, of course, those funds and those development perspective and expectations have passed through Trinidad and Tobago like if it is passing through the bowels as a dose of salt. Yes. Yes. You would remember that mommy and daddy would have given us that to, of course, cleanse the bowels, especially when they believe that you have worms. Yes. Yes. The worms that normally would, of course, find their way in the intestines. And therefore, of course, the laxative that you would have been given, dose of salt, senna and salts, sometimes castor oil. Well, I am saying that the PNM has done us an injustice over the years that they would have been in government and claim, of course, that they are the authority and the authoritative entity in order to carry us forward. And then we get in reality a shambolic state of affairs that when they now say that they promise utopia has turned out to be dystopia. You know what I say? I say that Rowley told us, for example, in 2015 that it's utopia that he would, of course, exhibit in Trinidad and Tobago. And then, of course, we experienced dystopia. And even, of course, in the last budget, he told us, wait 2 years again. But failing to tell us that when they got the second term, unfortunately, and under questionable circumstance, in 2020, he told us to wait 2 years again. Yes, the same rhetoric, the same thing that he told us just 2 or 3 months ago when the budget for 2025 was read, telling us that, listen, we have to wait for 2 years, wait until 2027 to get, of course, the utopia that was promised. Well, he promised utopia in 2015. He then, of course, after the speech of questionable victory in 2020, he told us to wait another 2 years. So if it's 2020, 21, 22, that has long gone. He comes back, of course, in 2024 and tells us wait until 2027. And they believe, are like lamb to the slaughter because they can, of course, bring the historical fact that they have been in office longer than anybody else. Nobody disputes that. But what we dispute is the fact that not only having been given the opportunity to manage the affairs of the country and make decisions, not only have they failed miserably, but that any party that was in government for so long would have had to, of course, deliver to the people, albeit their delivery has been sparse, has been inadequate, has been, of course, one that one can now reject as being insincere delivery to Trinidad and Tobago compared to the amount of money that we would have gotten, and it can be measured, of course, in terms of boom, economic boom, oil booms. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night.
Good night, my friend.
I just saw a clip in the car just came the helping up and with the Akali.
Uh-huh.
I just see a clip in from CNC3 and everybody vote for Stuart Young.
Well, it's not unexpected. I did say to expect that unless Rowley will say, listen, he can't get them to think, so he will remain in office. And that spectre they couldn't take because it would have been a continuous, of course, should I say, a state of antagonism from within. So they have, of course, mended their differences and they have, of course, come out. Why? Because 30 pieces of silver is greater than, of course, the civility and the good governance in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what that will tell me. So I am not surprised.
But I tell you, so what was that? Well, I glad Stuart Young there. But the thing is about it, Lennox.
Yes.
That same district you just be talking about, the wisen up and all kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
There has always be talking about the wild black man and the same Lavanti, all black people.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to change the vote now.
Well, let's see. I am very optimistic. As I said, I've moved what transpired or whatever would have transpired there, whether they mend their differences. I know any mending is about, of course, the almighty dollar and the continued, of course, deprivation of the citizens of the maximum amount the country can offer. So I know that. But I have revised mines from 27 to the 39. It has not changed. I expect Laventil, of course, to do what is correct in its own interest and, of course, be on the right side of history, because whether they like it or not, the UNC and Kamala Persad-Bissassa will form the next government.
Well, as you say, I hope so the match change and the democratic field change, because not 21 people can go in our back room and just say this one had to be the prime minister now, and then after the convention say this one, and then people vote for that because Bali say they support this man and the people on the ground. Because I understand as a prime minister or a prime minister or a president, the countries have it different. Either you vote a prime minister or a president. Is the totality of people in this country. Not because this one want to leave and he want to go and lime on the beach and think he bring his son. So then we run in a monarchy then. And the PNM should be ashamed of them people are waiting to go in tongue, to tell them, to tell them people and them that,
Very good.
I can't wait, Lennox. I can't wait, Lennox, to go in tongue to tell them people and them, man.
Yes, my friend. It does not take away anything. Doesn't make it. It doesn't change the price of coffee, so to speak. That's a maxim that is generally referred to suggest that it remains the same. There is no change.
Well, whether they like it or not, Lennox, it shows me that the people on your district, it's not just, it just wasn't race alone. It's that they damn dotish.
Ah, my friend, all of the above. All of the above. That they could be easily hoodwinked in 21st century Trinidad and Tobago is mind-boggling. And at times when I engage and hear that kind of myopic, nonsensical, irrelevant, illogical argument, and there are still some, but of course I, as a pedagogue, as one who have been teaching what sometimes people call hard-head chicken at times. Not that I am referring in any way to any particular person, but certainly I'm referring to, of course, the concept, the idea of a hard-head chicken simply means that they don't want, they cannot change, they will not change, even though they have the best of information in front of them.
But let me paint a picture for you.
Go ahead.
You could expect this in 2025 going off election, whether it be in August, whether it be in thing, whether they snap it after. carnival when everybody done fet and feel everybody
Yes.
thing. Well, everybody catching their auntie, uncle, and then after you could see the self because the PNM away they will outsmart people and put Rowley face that time. Stuart Young is the prime minister, you know. We have to put a stop to.
My friend, that is what is going to happen. Though you're asking answers, that's obvious. That's what's going to happen. He is going to be in the. Remember, that man knows where all the bones are buried. He has been, of course, Dr. Rowley's what I consider to be sidekick for a very long time. Rowley chose him because, of course, he could keep a secret, obviously, because it is a criminal enterprise. And therefore, of course, the two henchmen, the two kingpins are both these guys. And, of course, Rowley would want to have his way. And I'm sure in that meeting he threatened them that he's going to stay on and having regard to all of his public so-called interest in Trinidad and Tobago, when of course he told even those companies in Point Lisas, listen, my shareholders say that, listen, we want more, even though they were saying, listen, we cannot pay more for gas. Our business will not, of course, be as vibrant or as viable if we pay that amount of money for gas. And listen, he insisted clearly, and they just simply pack up and go. 12 companies to the point where we cannot get $20 US in our respective banks, even though we have been there banking with them for a long time. Easily cannot. So I could well imagine that kind of rambunctious, obnoxious, arrogant and belligerent type of approach in that meeting. I could imagine that. And of course, the rest of them don't want, of course, to lose the little kakada that they get in 30 pieces of silver in order to betray or continue to betray Trinidad and Tobago. So we know that. So I am not too perturbed about that. What I want, of course, is the election to go.
What I'm saying, you know.
Go ahead.
Listen to me. You can't be going through this time coming on to election with Rowley face, and then when it come and happen, is Stuart Young dealing with.
That's what I'm saying.
That is what
so we
people
have to know that.
understand.
I am saying that. I am agreeing with you. And that kind of chicanery, that kind of shenanigan, that kind of deception, the population has been there before, and therefore we have a duty to, just as what you are doing here, to, of course, alert the population that is in the mix. And we can show from references of the past that in fact has happened, because the thing has come full circle. There is nothing new under the sun as far as the PNM is concerned.
Yeah, but your district, not my district, your district does read that.
Yes, I
Your
agree.
district,
And I
them
agree.
that don't do.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that my job is to, of course, put it to them, and if they continue to be recalcitrant, there must be a point, not necessarily in my lifetime, but there must become a point when they would have realized individually and collectively that, of course, the PNM has been, of course, taking them for a ride all this time. Notice, none of them are involved in this decision. They have kept out, of course, the rank and file, and it's only persons at the top at Balize House are juggling for position because they expect that these people are going to remain complacent and, of course, not do what is right for themselves and the rest of it. But the rest of the country will.
Well, I hope the UNC promoted now, because I thought it was in his sack, but where they promoted, you know, and I was trying to figure it out. They're trying to use Rowley as the face, and then after they will hit you the shaft in your ass with this manner.
All right, my friend. Thank you. We have another caller. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Of course, there will be skeptics, people, and there will be, but we have to remain solid. We have to remain steadfast, and we have to be very focused. And the focus is laser focus, and that is that the Rowley and the PNM and the entire, of course, kabang must go. Whether you call it cabal, whether you call it kabang, whether you call it deceivers, whether you call it conspirators, whether you call it betrayers, whether you call it, of course, persons who have committed collectively and individually treason, or whether you call them total and absolute persons who should be, of course, be charged for treason. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, man. Good night, good night.
Good night, my friend.
Yes, man. Now, Lennox,
Yes.
black people, I now realize, black people want nothing in life. That we are shameful. We are shameful we let down our foreparents. When it's really and truly true, you know, when God made black man, he cry, you know. He cried to see the kind of things that we are doing to ourselves. We're not showing we are fighters. We're not showing we are leaders. You're showing to me that they just have just people and followers of others. I can't understand. When I say black people, I mean Indian and African, right? Because I consider all black, and we are not showing that responsibility. We're not showing we are belly. We're not showing that fight. We just sit down and just taking. How much more a man can take? When I get up in the morning, Young a Chinese is my prime minister. What we come into, or what we come to, with a disgrace in this world. With a disgrace, God, the Lord vex with us. The Lord vex with us, Trinidad and Tobagonians. Because I can't understand. I could have never dreamed. Just now we go get a Japanese. Just now we go get a Korean. But just now this man from South Korea, this short man, right? He might be with Prime Minister just now. Because we people don't like nothing. We don't like nothing. Just imagine, look Trinidad. I realize we don't want nothing. If you go and check the people who renting and ask them who they're renting from, they're renting from Grenadians. Why we black people couldn't save just like these other people and build what we have to build? We're selling out everything. Everything we're selling it to make $1 to buy a car, to show off with woman, and when the bell ring, we back home with our grandmother and making mischief and all kind of things. We are a disgrace to ourselves. I shame of myself. Shame as a black man. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. But I want to tell you, have faith. Don't feel, while of course I accept the fact that there are those, too many, not to be concerned, and you have a right to be concerned, I want to say that the majority within the various constituencies must make the decision for the minority as well. And we still have a first past the post system of government in order to, of course, get into government. Let's put it that way, from the electoral process. It is still first past the post. It is still, of course, winner take all, because we have not amended our constitution to, of course, include more what I consider to be participatory governmental process, such as, of course, PR. So we know. So we have to be able to work within the system that we have, because we have changed government before. So I am not going to be one to encourage any kind of what I consider to be persons who have given up. No. We are existential creature, and the existential philosophy says that as human beings, we can adapt and adjust, understand what is inimical to us, and make a decision. Because the decision is not up to Rowley and Day. If it was up to Rowley and Day, then of course we could clearly talk about, of course, determinism. But no, it is about us and utilizing our common sense and intellect and experiences with this administration to know is a bunch of con men and con women. And they went in there, of course. I was not surprised that they came out, of course, having coalesced and having, of course, settled their differences, because it is about 30 pieces of silver. And you know what 30 pieces of silver has done from immemorial. I'm talking about, of course, from biblical times, when, of course, Judas betrayed us for 30 pieces of silver. He betrayed Christ. And therefore what we had, I have not seen it, but I am not surprised in the continued betrayal, first and foremost, of the rank and file of the party card members. Secondly, those who are sympathetic to the party. And thirdly, of course, those who are on the defense line. And fourthly, of course, the entire Trinidad and Tobago. Entire Trinidad. And why they believe they can do that? Because they have been able over the years to perpetuate a philosophy that is of psychologically a brainwashing exercise over many years. And just as Goebbels, I believe he was the propaganda minister of Hitler, who says that you can tell a lie several times over, as Rowley has done on multiple and manifold and, of course, numerous occasions, to project something that is supposed to be part of our experience, but they engage in a number of psychological tools, one of which, of course, is called framing. Framing is a psychological tool where you, and let me be practical here, because it has been happening right now when they give out 1 or 2 houses through agency, or when, of course, Cummins give a 2 or 3 or 40 persons a certificate and maybe a $20,000 to start a homestead farm. Or indeed, when they give a number of entities in and around East Port of Spain and Diego Martin, the so-called hotspots or the sociologically depressed areas, they might, of course, intensify maybe infrastructural projects such as drains and roads and pavement and so on, 30,000, 100,000, 40,000, plenty money for them. That is what they would have assumed. And framing, of course, is a term where, of course, you give 1 or 2 and encourage 1 or 2 circumstances and situations and make it look as though it's the norm, and you take optimum benefit from it, as if it is all over the country. They will pave, of course, the main thoroughfare, the highways and so on, and give you the impression that, of course, your road, your community road will be next. At that time, waste of time. Just as how they will give 2 or 3 homes and say that, and give the impression by the media, of course, being encouraged and roped into this propaganda, and they then make it look as though, ooh, the over 100,000 of them waiting. Oh boy, my turn next. And they will tell you that. And you're so stupid, you fall for it. And that is the kind of what I consider to be framing I'm talking about. But to no avail your experience. And eventually, That must stop. It will come full cycle as it has. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox, and to everybody on the chat.
Yes.
Lennox, you know, sometimes we mustn't toot our own horn,
Yes.
but sometimes we have to do it. We have to do it. We have to pat ourselves on the back. One thing I must say, when I stick to whatever I'm saying, I am not a flip-flopper. I don't come here, there, and everywhere and say one thing, and then when I'm speaking privately, I say something else. I'm consistent right through. And that is something I must say I admire about myself. Lennox, I don't care who say what. You see what is going on here in this country here today, right? And it is so shameful. It is so shameful to see. Just yesterday, it was 11-9, and now 22 of them preaching Stuart Young glory. Am I hearing right, Lennox?
I will not be surprised. I've not seen it, but I could have anticipated. If it was on the ground report yesterday, we could have predicted that. But of course, everything happened over the weekend. Well, today, and of course,
but
so
today
we are not
was the
surprised. But
meeting.
Monday we will deal with it, and tonight as well.
Yeah, today was the meeting.
Yes.
But I find it very strange. What changed? What changed? And today when I heard it was an interview with Leigh Hunt and another one with Mariano Brown, I am shocked. I am shocked to hear these people talking because PNM don't bring out the business. That is the brotherhood of wrongdoers. We keep each other secret. But all of a sudden you are hearing now, all who bringing out the arm and talking. But you know what? You know what? It is really, really made me ashamed of Penelope Beckles, right? You talk about what you put in party first. When Mrs. Prasad Bissessa had used a similar statement, PNMIs jumped down her throat. But you know what? Thank God we have it on file. Thank God we have it on file that we can throw it in her face. Lennox, we must not forget this army whisperer and his nastiness. That is the kind of people, and Penelope Beckles and all of them sat down in there, listened to that man disrespected Mrs. Prasad Bissessa and didn't say a word. Don't they see themselves as women? You see, let me tell you something, eh? Some women are their own worst enemies. Right? Lennox, we must never forget this man was a failure as the communications minister. He was a failure as the Minister of National Security. We will not forget he locking people out. And they had to call Jelani, party group number 6, for them to come back in the country. I hope Obika remember all of that. He was a failure as the Minister of Energy. Under his watch, those 4 men were left to die in that pipe. And that is what they put as a prime minister in this country. But everybody asking the same question. Why is Rowley pushing this man so? You see, Rowley is ashamed of what he's going to face, worse than Patrick Manning when he loses that election. So he rather Stuart Young take the embarrassment. But because even Leigh Hunt was saying that Manning was grooming Emery Brown. Why Manning didn't do the same thing? But you see, Keith Rowley feels he's a bully. But I'll remind you of something, Lennox. In 2013, for their internal elections, you remember when Penelope Beckles and Louis Lee Singh and all of them was going up against him?
Mm-hmm.
Both Sharma, right, and the Boynes brothers and them were going up against him.
Yes.
Louis Lee Singh wrote an article in the Express to hell in a handbasket. He said, and I quote, if Keith Rowley can open the constitution of the PNM to allow non-paying members to vote for him, What will he do should he become prime minister one day? If he becomes prime minister one day, and that is history now. We have seen since Rowley came into office all what Keith Rowley is doing. How many times he changed the constitution to pass bills. Look at what he's doing now. Now he's changing the constitution again of the PNM to anoint Stuart Young. And that is the kind of people want in this country as a prime minister, as a government that have failed the people at every turn. No, but you see, let Rowley and the PNM continue doing what it is they want to do, but they cannot wipe away the fact that 9 people did not want Stuart Young. 9 people, but somebody abstained. Somebody didn't vote, right? Because it's 22, and it's 22 of them.
No,
and they were
21, 21. You remember?
Without
Morris Julian, remember that? It was 22.
Oh, right. That's true. Yeah. So it's only right. So it's only 21.
Yes.
But still, it's only 20. 11 9 is 20, Lennox, which means Keith Rowley didn't vote.
But apparently,
Somebody didn't vote.
But I have not seen the article, so I cannot confirm or deny. I am relying on your own assessment until I see it myself.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, because that's what we kept hearing all the time.
Okay.
And 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11,
you understand?
yes.
And they, right.
But I understand today
so
is unanimous 21.
Right. But Lennox, we have to keep reminding people that Stuart Young is not no new wine in no new vessel. He's vinegar. The man is vinegar in a tainted vessel, because he is going to carry out all the plans and policies, if you want to call it.
Yes. That's it. Yeah. Hold on, caller. I have another caller on the handset.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Alacruz.
Yeah. Yeah, Lennox, right? He is going to fail this country because he failed, as I told you before, he failed as communications, he failed as national security, and he failed as energy minister. But let him feel that when Trump is sworn in, he will have an easy ride. He lied. Stuart Young is a failure, and we don't need another failure in this country.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Lennox, and have a good night.
Thank you as well, because now we have gone past this phase. We have to look at that other aspect of it. But go ahead, caller on the system. Go ahead.
Yeah, pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend. Caller, just hold on here. We have another caller on the system itself. Go ahead, caller. Yes.
Okay, what I'm going to say, right, is that something happened in the beginning of the PNM in 2015. I just want to bring it back to, like, you can remember when Paula Merrick made the mistake and put appoint Harari before the Prime Minister?
Yes, I remember that very, very distinctly. They put the cart before the horse, so to speak.
Right. So what I'm going to say is the first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago that a president appoint the Attorney General before the Prime Minister, okay?
Yes.
Right. We come in the history of Trinidad and Tobago is the first time they fire a Governor General at the Central Bank.
Yes.
Right? In the history of Trinidad and Tobago, they take a PNM niece, former minister at the PNM, and put it in the EBC.
Yes.
Okay? In the history of Trinidad and Tobago, they take a woman out of the belly of the PNM, also the president of the Senate, and make that person president.
Yes.
In the history of Trinidad, it's the first time a prime minister ever take the merit list that go into the president for a police commissioner.
So true.
Right? I just give you how the history of thing coming on, right? Is everything happening?
Yeah.
Right? It's the first time in history of Trinidad, right? I am Solicitor General, right?
Mm-hmm.
that come and say about the money, no boy.
Yeah, 3 billion, then 2 point something they can account for, and plus that is on the revenue side and $1 billion on the expenditure side. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, right. In the history of Trinidad, it's the first time to the Integrity Commission, right? They move a chairman, right? When he come and he was talking about the house in Tobago already have now, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
then also the industrial.
But is that the first time a chairman has been moved? Because of course we had two or three chairmans before that, but
yes.
But go ahead. Yes.
We know they move, but under the circumstances they're talking about.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Because
right.
This chairman was attending to make culpable and to reopen, of course, the investigation as far as Rowley and the INS Gate house and his declarations thereof. Yeah. Okay. Right. Go ahead. Yes.
Right. So I just telling you, it's always a first time, and the first time now it happened in the PNM, where a sitting prime minister going to resign and looking to appoint somebody in the PNM to make them the prime minister. But the idea is, right, that is something when Sarkozy talk about the 11-9. But you have to know they have a screaming committee to take place, an election coming up.
Yes.
So if you, in the 9, decide not to put a signature for Stuart Young, you are bound to get picked for the next election, you know.
Well, but right, because the prime minister still has, of course, retained the position of what? Leader of the party. So he has literally, of course, put them under some very serious, what I consider to be pressure to, of course, do what he says, because he still holds a significant amount of power and influence as far as the party is concerned to select, because of the electoral process that is inevitable and impending.
Right. So they come like they under duress.
Under duress. Understand? That is the correct term. Yes.
Yes. So they have to compromise. So, but what I'm going to say before
I hold on. I have another caller.
Yeah. I'm going to talk there. So what I'm going to say, I'm glad they put in stop here.
No, not yet, sir.
I just hope he could become the prime minister, because I know nobody is going to vote for him. So I'm glad they put Beckles, because Beckles will have a better chance. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. We will look at that because what they have done is shot themselves in both feet. But of course, that is subject to detailed examination, so we can of course rationalize what we are saying. Thank you very much. Yes,
right.
On the surface of it,
right.
Yes, I agree. From a superficial perspective,
thank you.
Yes. All right, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, good night, Dr. Lennox.
Yes, good night to you.
Yes, I'm the type of person. Good night to Trinidad and Tobago, all the listeners worldwide.
Right.
Yes, I'm the kind of person. I think as African people, we supposed to recognize our heroes.
Right.
Right. They have leaders that have followers.
Right.
Right. A good leader is a good follower. All right. Now, I think you see, like men like you and I was listening to this fella, what's his name? Philip Alexander.
Philip, yes, okay, yes, I know him.
Yes, and he seems to be a very wise man. You see, right?
Yes.
And King David Muhammad.
Okay.
A next wise fella, and we have to look up to you all. You understand?
Thank you.
Because as I say, a good leader is a good follower. So it ain't nothing wrong in following.
That's right.
And lift up your heroes, right? That is what we need to do as African people.
Yes.
Now, Now, as I always say, you see me, Indian, white man, Chinese, all of us is brothers. That is my thinking.
Yes.
Right? I
Okay.
don't know about nobody else. That's how I just think. Right? Because an Indian will come and treat me better than my own brother.
Mm-hmm.
So where is that? Right? Anyhow, for the last 10 years, they said that was the vote given to African people. I can't remember how they call it. The last 10 years, they say that was for African people.
Oh yeah,
internationally.
The international recognition of the African diaspora or something. But I remember that. I think it's not 10. I think it's 15 years. I believe it expanded to. But go ahead. That's the United Nations Declaration of the 10 years. Yeah, the decade of the Africans. Yeah.
Right. Now, what Dr. Rowley? Well, I take any doctor from him and I give you the doctor. The doctor.
I hear you,
right?
my friend. I hear you.
What did doctor and them do for that? And they approach the African people and get and mobilize them and let them know, well, so this is the 10 years and we will do this and to build us now.
Yes.
What they do in that 10 years? What they do?
Yeah, we in fact, I want to tell you that you have touched a very, what I consider be salient issue there, because really and truly there has been no sensitization as if it never existed, except of course Dr. Ori will give us a half-baked scenario where of course he's looking for compensation against slavery. But outside of that, there has been nothing, and that too appeared to have fallen by the wayside because he has given up.
Right. I sure if a man like you was the prime minister for them 10 years, I sure you going to organize the Africans.
Yeah, because you have a good basis. You have a good basis. Dr. Rowley will refer to international matters. Of course, what is coming out of the United Nations. He, of course, did that for justifying Trinidad and Tobago's association through, of course, his government, should I say, policies and programs with Maduro, but never have said that that administration has infringed, of course, human rights, which, of course, Trinidad and Tobago subscribes to, including the United Nations. And he went there and trying to defend the indefensible and saying that there is justification for him recognizing Maduro as opposed, of course, to his pernicious, evil, and oppressive nature, and has, of course, caused the migration out of Venezuela of over 4 million of the 27 million citizens that is supposed to be the population of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Lennox, I don't want to take up too much of time because I know that other callers.
Yes.
I have other things to ask and say, but
no problem. Take your time,
next
of course, and
right?
call us once we are within, of course, scope of the program. All right, in terms of time.
My brother.
All right. Yes. Bye. Yes, indeed.
You.
But I take the last caller as well, and of course the one before that, to of course continue the process, because you see, the caller is quite right. Not only has Dr. Rowley betrayed, of course, the African community, because I have an opportunity to talk African without being accused of engaging, of course, in race baiting or any other form of what I consider to be racial connotation, in whatever form. Because the United Nations did, in fact, declare 10 years of recognition of the African continent for what it has contributed to the world. But let's go to the lines. Person, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and
Good
all the
night.
listeners.
Good night to you as well,
Share
my
the
friend.
live.
Yes.
And to all the contributors who make this show time every week of the day.
Yes, man.
Every week of the day.
Yes, man. I like
because Mr. Lennox, without the listeners and the contributors, and like me who call in to tell you, I have a bone to pick with you. This show will not have a nice substance. Because here what's going on now. I see after 60 years of PNM, they change the logo now to PINM. Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm sure you're going to tell me what that acronym stands for. Go ahead.
Yeah. So after all these years, it finally come to see that is the People's Indian National Movement. Because Indian movement now, national movement. Because you know why? Siotong is from Penal, and he went to school barefoot, and some of the days he didn't have something to eat.
My goodness.
Until he mother meet the Chinese man in Port of Spain on the corner. So the PNM now get a real Indian from Penal. It's not me who said that. That was Siotong. Say where he from and what he went through in a speech. So now Rowley, he leader, had bring in all the Indian businessmen and all the Indian in the party to do everything for them. Now they're officially Indian. So Mr. Lennox, how that statement song? It will not sound nice to the listeners' ears. But let me watch it this way now. Stuart Young have been given the leadership without the membership and the people who to make the decision, the right decision, to vote for the leader, didn't have an opportunity. So which one, my statement or what Rowley do to the supporters at the PNM? Which one is more insultive? And which one is more not fitting for the airways? So you see what a dictator look like? And then he push it on. And the hurtful thing, you will see in the PNM constituency, the supporters will blindly run behind the PNM flag and the truck and jump up and say, great is the PNM. The callers and them talking and everybody's seen that for the last 10 years, a decade ago, nothing. But I want to ask you, Uncle Lennox, in their resigning, so is Camila going, Alison going, West going, Alison Lewis going, Gaspidoli going, Champa going, them staying there. So what it is we really going and get in the PINM now? What we really going, what do we have to deliver for the people? And Stuart is one who say sedition and treason still on the books. And they had not bring investors to this country for the last 10 years to make we life better. Now we will be entering a bitter era with these fellas and them. I just asking the PNM supporters to see it in their heart that to send a message to the dictators who lead all their party, just like how we in the UNC, they stand up and vent when we had to vent and say then we want this so and we want it so. And still how we say, and then the people just do, and that is the final decision, the membership. Now, all I will have to say tonight, Mr. Lennox, to all the slave catchers, then all they thought, oh, I get a new, better overseer to help all you. But no, the slaves get an overseer to whip them and work them for nothing. Have a nice night.
Thank you very much. And I think I must make it abundantly clear, lucidly clear, and conspicuously so. What transpired today and over the last couple of weeks, quite apart from, of course, being a diversion, whether intended or unintended, it has evolved into a diversion. But rest assured and understand that is a P&M business. And the P&M, and if I am to include, of course, not just the leadership, because there is a dichotomy, there must be a division, the leadership as opposed to the rank and file, the ordinary members. But if we put both of them together, they form a minuscule part of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore that is their business. Understand that. It is their business. So from the 1.5 million of us, that's a small group. However, if they would like us to accept that that small group must determine the quality of life, the standard of living, the prospects for the future, the life and type of our young people, the nature of the education system, the national security and all of its, should I say, engulfed institutions, including the police, the prison, and the fire service, and all of the other apparatus of law enforcement in the country, including, of course, the Army, Coast Guard, Air Guard, etc. Understand, that grouping of persons who went to Balize House, and let me tell you one time what I think about Balize House, is a blood-sucking, it is a blood money institution that they went into it. Understand that? Because they cannot explain the volume, the huge amount of money that they spent over the last 9 years or 10 years in order to construct that monstrosity of steel and so. They still have to explain. They're going in there, blood money, and they sit in that blood money edifice and want to make decision for 1.5 million, of which they are a small grouping. Note that. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Hey, good night, Mr. Lennox. Mr. Lennox, I just locked in a while ago, man. I was tired, man. I was up in North Dakota.
No problem, man. No problem, man. No problem, man. Go ahead. Make your contribution.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Lennox. Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
I don't know how much I missed out anyway. I'll go back. But what I have to say is, I don't know what went on today in the parliament, so I'm trying to catch up.
It wasn't parliament. It was
not in the parliament.
The party, the P&M party. General Council meeting. Yes.
Right. What I have to say, and my opinion, my idea, and what I see here, and I use my thinking outside the box, so to speak. Okay. This man put the SOE. Not for criminal per se, right? And not for anybody else but himself to do his bidding, whatever he had to do.
Yes, of course. That is clear. Now, anybody with a modicum will know that. Yes, go ahead.
What reason is, when you have SOE, you cannot have parliament, right? So now, he called the caucus meeting in Tobago to tell his caucus what he's going to do without information.
Yes.
With in other words, so to speak, catch him with the pants down. You know what I mean? Now, they could he make up his mind to put Stuart Young over there. Now, what's going to happen is they could see where they want now, yeah, that they vote for Stuart Young. You know what he's going to do? The last person have a say is the president. And he going to put up to the president. And the president is alleged, or where it goes, she go say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she go sign it over. Because remember, he put the SUE first. So he wouldn't have no parliament. So he can't go to the parliament. So now, whatever anybody say, the president had the last say. And she got to sign off on that. You know, something you catch drift?
Yeah, there is a process, and if a letter is sent to her saying that the 21 members of the lower house agree that, or the other, let's say 20 of them agree that that Stuart Young must be the prime minister, but that's it. She has no choice in that matter, you know, because of course the other side only has 19 seats.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
go ahead.
That cannot go to the parliament.
That cannot.
What I just told you, it cannot go to the parliament because they have a SUE.
Oh no! They will strategize, because remember they have to prorogue the parliament. They have their convention. I don't know, based on what transpired today, if they will still have it in September, because the 9 that came to us in terms of their concerns. That delayed, of course, the signing of that letter to go to the president was that Rowley had lied to them, or put another way, deceived them, and they thought that he was going to resign both as prime minister and as the leader of the party. So I don't know to what extent that has been trashed out, except we know that they have coalesced, they have, of course, shortened the ranks, so to speak, and they have, of course, made a decision that Stuart Young is the man. The other side of it, we don't know as yet.
Oh, but he will continue with his
leadership.
Stuart Young.
Yes.
Leadership.
Stuart Young, prime minister, he is leader. From what we know now, we don't know what has transpired, as I say, on that part of it from the general council. But remember, I am not one to focus on the PNM business, except to say that continues to be a deception, and of course we don't want to deflect from the incompetence, impotence, and the criminal behavior of this entire group of individuals under an organization called the PNM that is a criminal enterprise.
So in other words, that you're saying, Mr. Lennox, in other words, you saying that he hijacked the PNM.
Well, yes, obviously he has done that, but that is their business. We need to say that so that they will know that is why we have been having the level of incompetence, the level of corruption, the level of nepotism, the level of manipulation, and the level of rambunctious behavior, insulting to, of course, women, children, and the society in general, and therefore they are unfit for government and governance.
None of them got unfit for government. I don't care who they put.
That's right. Caller, just hold on. I have a caller from the United States, and afterwards we'll take you.
Yeah, you have to eliminate the whole of the people. You want to get rid of something, you have to get the whole nest out.
Yes, man.
That's it. If you know who could put there, who is better than who. None of them better than who.
Of course,
They all from the same block.
a bunch of nincompoops, a bunch of indolence. So we are not going to focus there.
I listen to some of your callers saying Penny Beckles will be better than nobody is better.
Of
the
course,
whole nest have to go.
Of course, since they could stomach like Kobos, that kind of mismanagement and corruption, then we know that none of them qualifies to be at this stage in the position that they are in, and therefore, of course, the biblical statement that is evil in high places is very appropriate. All right.
But if Ronnie, no, one thing. If Ronnie was doing the right thing, if Ronnie was doing the right thing or
Would
the
have been
wrong
a
thing,
different
why
story, of
somebody
course.
didn't say anything?
Yeah, it would have been a
Why
different
somebody didn't say anything?
Yes.
So none of them are none of them are button who.
Yes,
So
that's right.
that is all. Let's tell them now. So
All
let's
right,
now
thank you very
somebody
much.
else on the line.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right.
All right.
Right.
Go ahead, caller. Sorry about that. Sorry for having you wait, but we had to conclude the one before we can, of course, engage you. So go ahead, sir. Hello.
I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles. Okay, go ahead, Los Angeles. Oh boy, have you been? Well, I suppose nobody is spared in Los Angeles with that fire.
Nobody is spared.
Nobody is spared.
I
Yes,
can
boy.
see the fire from my
I was shocked. I thought it was the hills and all that. You know, I didn't know it was the city itself that was found in this calamity.
It's not directly within the city just yet, but it's in the Hollywood Hills area.
Yes.
And the biggest fear would be if it gets past that and comes down at all.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, of course, be safe, and of course, our prayers go out to you out there. But of course, we understand too, just as how we are examining here, why it has occurred, because there were certain glitches or certain, should I say, deficiencies in the system, because Los Angeles is not too far from the Pacific Ocean. Why it is that there was a shortage of water, at least the fire at a shorter stage, apart from the breeze and the other climatic issues that has been raised. But go ahead, my friend, make your contribution. Yeah.
And I think Faith would have had it where that question would have to be answered, because the fire burnt Malibu and Topanga Canyon all the way out to the coast.
Wow. So Los Angeles has been disfigured, scorched.
You know, basically, as I said, you know, in the abundance of water, apparently the fool was still thirsty.
Has been thirsty from all the evidence. Yes. And of course, the mighty United States. That is
mighty United States.
Yeah, mighty United States. Because I was going to make the point in Trinidad, because a caller earlier talked about, of course, the first time, and I wanted to add to him that the first time nature has been against us as well, because of course we had a whole community, HGC community housing development in Central called, of course, Greenvale, that was flooded out. People were marooned on top of their houses. And of course, we had some earthquakes on the Richter scale that was much more than we normally would get under this administration. I just was pointing that out because it appears that nature has gone against us as well.
I think nature went against us the day that we voted PNM.
Oh my goodness! Yes. That's a good way to put it and to conclude it. Yes, I agree with you.
Honestly, some of the most gruesome crimes and events in all my life that I've ever seen is in the last 10 years in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. That is without doubt.
I think somehow we cursed ourselves with what we did.
Yeah.
We did not listen to the voice of wisdom when we were warned.
Yeah.
And like all societies, and even if we look back at even in biblical times, many a times when you get that warning and you don't heed it, you pay a heavy price. We've paid a heavy price.
I like the term, paying a heavy price. I think that is most appropriate for Trinidad. But in spite of all of that, just as of course in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty, we have those who are still recalcitrant, who are still, of course, gravitating or evil being a magnet for them, and they continue, of course, to seek what I consider to be suicidal missions of one kind or another.
Yeah, well, evil beget evil.
Evil beget evil. Very good again. Once. I mean, I love those two terminologies that you would have introduced yourself with there.
I was raised by a very old man. My father
Wisdom indeed.
And wisdom.
What other issue you would like to raise, except apart from what you have done already?
I would like my people to see what we call a bait and switch, and the contradictions in which our Prime Minister have placed us.
Yes.
I can recall him raising hell and high water for the PNM party to have one man, one vote.
Yes.
I can recall that like it was yesterday.
Right.
He raised hell So why the hell is it that they don't just go back to the party and let the party make a decision as to who should be the next leader? Why is it he should be kingmaker when he fought against that very same thing when he was seeking to become leader of the party? When just prior to that election, we need to look back at this man and his antics and realize that the road this has taken to Trinidad and Tobago, it's a negative road. Yeah, I'm emotional about this because I hear some of my people speaking about the Indian woman this, the Indian woman that. But I just have to remind a lot of my black people out here, that same Indian woman was giving our black people and our black kids laptops and tablets that more or less was a stroke of genius, because that had to be what you call a hell of a foresight. Roughly years before a pandemic virtually, take our children out of school.
That was vision. That was prophetic. Yes.
That was prophetic,
yes.
And we more or less, we spit, basically, we spit in the hand that was handing that to us.
That's right.
We turned that down. And the pandemic proved to be a factor. I want my black people to understand what I'm saying here. 600 of our young black men and women are dying every year.
Yes.
And we want to talk about we in control and we don't want nobody else rule us. Well, I want us to make a good count. Count 10 years at 600 per year.
Wow.
And count another 10 years at 600 per year. How many of us are going to be around here to say we're in the majority pretty soon? Our people are dying. Numbers is what controls things. Numbers. Our numbers are going down by 6. The Indian community is not losing 600 young men every year. Neither is the Chinese, neither is the Syrian, neither is the Lebanese. We are losing 600 plus of our young black men and women every year. How long do we think we will say that we be in a majority to rule things? I wonder if people are really counting this, huh? How long? I give us 5 more years. And we are likely to be we are likely not even to be making 25% of the population of Trinidad and Tobago. Every young man that we lose, consider each one of these young men to having 2 children. So with every young man you lose, you really lost more than 3 people. And that 10 years that you lost 6 by 10, consider that 6 by 10 by 3.
Wow.
And I'm just saying 3. I of myself have 8 children, and I mind them all. But I'll go conservative enough to say, imagine each one of our young black men that we've lost, not having 2 children to add to the population of Trinidad and Tobago for the African man. How long do we think it will take for us to be in a minority status in relation to even the Venezuelans? My people need to wake up and think here. The Indian man is not our enemy. He's our brother and he's our friend. We both left Ethiopia at the same time. And Egypt. Some of us went south. Some of us went north. Some of us went east. We're the same damn people. The hair might be different because of the location that we were in, but we all came out of Egypt and Ethiopia at the same time. I want my people to wake up and realize today, we are in big trouble in Trinidad and Tobago. Our population is not just dying, not just getting old. We're dying by the 600 every year, chip by chip. They're breaking away at this block. So the powers that be don't have to do much to get rid of us. They don't have to worry about us. In the next 10 years, we'll be a freaking minority so bloody low. We might forget Trinidad ever had a black population that was in a majority at one time. We need to wake up. We need to wake up and move away from what is not good for us. I'm sorry, but the PNM is a gateway party. It's a gatekeepers party. They are the gatekeepers to the children of our former ancestors and enslavers. They are the only party I see love colonial-style buildings and old buildings the way in which we do. We spend millions and refurbish slave quarters, old slave masters' buildings, calling them magnificent sevens and all that stuff. When we should be breaking that damn thing down.
From Los Angeles, speak. Yes.
Uplifting. We should be building up all those. I'm very serious. If I have my way, I'll break every one of those so-called magnificent sevens.
What people in Lavantil and Betham and Eastport of Spain and Silots and Chumacac and so on, listen to reason. Listen to reason. Go ahead, my friend.
We should no longer be even carrying the names of some of these former enslavers on our streets. We should have woken up a long time ago. What's happening to the black man in Trinidad and Tobago? He's not just asleep. He's tranquilized. He's totally tranquilized, and it saddens me. You know, our young sisters can hardly sometimes speak to our young men properly.
Yeah, it is a growing concern as to how they address each other, even though English language is supposed to be, to some extent, the first language, and to a lesser extent, the second language. That is my perspective, but of course, for purposes of communication, we need to be able to, of course, address each other in a manner that could be universally accepted for the purposes of commerce and development. But of course, that sadly is not the case in so many parts of the country. But go ahead, my friend.
Trinidad and Tobago needs programs. We need programs in throughout Trinidad and Tobago for young men and women to participate in after hours uplifting programs. It should have little centers where young people can go and either learn a specific art or practice a certain skill. Why are we importing, stools and chairs for bars when we have so many young welders in Trinidad and Tobago that can make these things? We are importing stuff. Sometimes I wonder, what the hell is going on here? I was in Trinidad recently. I was shocked. We are importing avocados. We're importing cabbage. What the hell is wrong with us? The avocados in the groceries in Trinidad to begin with, the imported ones, are no good. When you cut them, there's a little black lining on the inside. If most people don't know, that black lining is mold. It's mold. You shouldn't be eating that. And I bought a few well in Trinidad and Tobago just to see. And then I bought the local ones and I saw what's going on. The imported avocados in Trinidad and Tobago are killing you. It's killing you. It is molded inside. For whatever reason, I don't know how it ends up like that. You don't see it on the outside until you cut it.
Yeah, obviously, because you have to get in. You have to get past the outside before you can get in. And by that time, of course, you would have spent already, because you only saw you could get to cut it, and therefore you realize that, of course, it was a waste buy, so to speak. All right.
They are killing us. They are killing us, and we need to understand that they are killing us.
Thank you very much.
We have no friends. As a people, Dr. John Henry Clark once told us, and we should always remember that, man.
Go ahead.
We have no friends.
We have no friends.
If we don't like yourself, don't expect others to like you.
Beautiful, man.
The Indian man is not our enemy. I'm not a racist. I have a lot of Indian relatives, and I'm black like tar. I love my people. I love all races. But I want to see my people do something for what's happening to us. We are dying. And we are dying not just in the hospital. We are dying in front of our face. We are seeing our demise in front of us. We somewhat don't quite realize what we're seeing. It could be your little black boy next. Don't feel you're immune from this.
I don't think anybody is that naive in Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody, in fact, have been affected one way or another by crime and criminal behavior, whether a friend of a family, as the case may be, or a neighbor. Yeah.
We need to wake up, and I will leave room for someone else.
Yes, thank you very much, of course, for that intervention. Yes, indeed. All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Good night, Lennox.
Same to you, my friend. Oh boy, we got a mouthful, a head full. I wouldn't say an air full, because air full suggests that some level of annoyance. No. That is food for thought, because he started, of course, with a anthropological statement as to where we came from, out of Africa. Of course, all human beings, and they migrated, and therefore we should not be antagonistic to our Indian brothers and sisters. I like that, and vice versa. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night, and welcome to the corridor.
Hey, good night.
Good night to you, my friend.
You hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend.
All right. The first thing I want to tell you.
Yes.
You pull up a clip yesterday. With one and all them, how happy they was. And you pull up the clip this evening.
Yes.
You will see the vast contrast on all them face. right? They had no choice but to vote for Short Chung.
Yes, obviously.
Huh?
Obviously, the great manipulator of a pernicious and evil disposition had taken charge. It's obvious, but go ahead.
Yeah, and he said he's Short Chung, and the other one with him for some comment.
Yes.
They keep repeating themselves so often. They know it's all over for them, Lennox.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's 30 pieces of silver he threatened them with, one, because
you get that clip from yesterday afternoon?
Yeah.
And then you want tonight, you will see vast contrast.
Yeah, I certainly will, because I have that one. I have not looked at the outcome of that meeting. So you get it tomorrow night. Sorry, you get it tomorrow.
And you will see the
yeah, certainly, yes.
Time over for them, but listen before I go.
Go ahead.
You see all this killing what taking place in this country? It's savages all day we have, you know.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. Barbaric.
Yeah, we need a bit
heinous specimen of
savages.
Inhumanity. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, watch. They have a movie called The Savage Pampas that's in Argentina. Yeah?
The Savage what?
Pampas. P-A-M-P-A-S.
Okay, Papas. Okay.
Yeah, the Pampas is in Argentina.
Papas. Okay.
That is where we reach right now. Right? It's savages all day. And I want to send a message to everybody. When you go there, anybody come at you. You hear me, Lennox?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. And the rest of the world.
Right. You have to protect yourself. Anybody come at you, the first person that you call on is God. Is He give you a life? And you just say 3 words. Lord help me. You can't study the police and this government and all of them with the crap, you know, Lennox.
Of course not. Of course not. That's par for the course in terms of your positioning, and of course it goes without saying as well.
You have to call on the person that give you your life. You can't worry with the police and this government. They have an answer. And you have to do them before they do you.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, my friend.
One last thing I want to say, Lennox.
Go ahead.
That funeral with the lady that died. And that funeral talking about all of them, you see, and that funeral was more about the PNM than the girl herself.
Obviously, because it was part of the diversion, you see, and that, whilst, of course, it is a serious matter for them to juggle for position and dominance, and of course, let's say power from within in this criminal enterprise called the PNM, it had of course the unintended consequence of a diversion. But of course, programs like mine will not engage too long, except of course to note, because it has national implications. But to say that we are going to, of course, look at it for what they would like in terms of a diversion, no, we will continue, of course, to say and to, of course, highlight their iniquities, that the entire edifice is a corrupt one, that, of course, the building itself is a blood money edifice, that they went in there to, of course, to take decisions in their own best interest to see how more they can, of course, deprive the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is what that is all about. I am not going to be lured by that nonsense. Huh?
You know what gets me real vexed with that funeral?
Go ahead.
When Ashton Ford started to talk.
Yes.
And talk how the lady was a friend to all.
Yes.
And they went back to Marlene Gordon.
Yeah.
You don't know Marlene Gordon leave the PNM, Lennox?
Well, that platitude of a self-descript nature. So we understand what they will do. I can tell you, if you are opposed to them, I can tell you how the letter will be structured.
Watch me. Marlene Gordon was working with Dupree.
Yes.
Long time.
Yes.
And if she had remained with Dupree, they could have never get rid of Dupree.
Yes.
They could have never closed down Kiko. because she would advise you for look, this is where they gonna come from.
Yes.
Yeah,
But that's all right. That's all right. There is, of course, the well-tested and ever consistent, like the Northern Star, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad, and that evil could never prevail over good. And that is an assurance that all of us must, of course, be very, very familiar with. Yeah.
I want to get the clip from tonight and look at it, yeah?
I will, my friend. You'll get that tomorrow night. I'll make the comparison. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, people. Once again, you have to caricature them. You have to lampoon them. You have to let them know that we are up to, and therefore this is about getting the hell out of office. That is what that, all the talk, and they could reconcile. They can, of course, coalesce. They can, of course, conspire and come up, of course, with some kind of common face to show that somehow the illusion that they have mended their differences, that is irrelevant to Trinidad and Tobago. What we know that they entered into, of course, a blood money building to, of course, to conspire to do us more evil when they should be calling an election. That must be the focus. They should be calling an election in that blood money edifice. They stole, they cannot, of course, account for, and it is only construct simply because they have been in office. And what does that mean? Corruption, nepotism, and cronyism. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith, Professor Lennox Smith, Dr. Lennox Smith, Your Majesty Lennox Smith, everything that is high and have a purpose in life. I greet you. Pleasant good night.
Good night to you, my friend. Thank you for those accolades. I hope I can live up to them.
You're welcome. Lennox.
Yes.
I want to read something here from Deuteronomy 5 and verse 11. Yeah, right. and I quote, "Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain."
Just hold on, please. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I have another caller on the line. Go ahead, point.
"For the Lord will not hold them guiltiness that taketh his name in vain."
Yes.
Lennox Smith, the reason why I read this, right? You see that fire will take place in Los Angeles?
Mm-hmm.
Right. When I started watching the news how much days ago, I was seeing somebody who was being interviewed was saying like the way how that fire start, like somebody drop a bomb somewhere in the forest for that fire to take place. So yesterday I went through Facebook and I see one of my partners post up something that take place in Hollywood. There was it's a bunch of people. I don't know if it's actors and celebrities and whatever, but like they had this game show.
Yeah.
And there was mocking God.
All right.
If you hear there was mocking God, and the day after this fire take place, Lennox, if you pay attention to that fire, the fire looking like a scene from hell, you know.
Oh yeah, yes. Definitely. I mean, it's Los Angeles. You're talking the most expensive, the largest probably buildings in the world, in one place, in one locale. So it is really a tragedy of what I consider be a conflagration or a devilish nature, meaning that hellish nature, I should say, not just devilish, but hellish nature.
I'm telling you. So, if people at Trinidad and Tobago, they decide to take a look at the neighbor house and what's yours, you see the CNN government? Lennox, I just be watching them Venezuelan and them. It are people, African people, catching the backside for years, begging this one, begging that one on the street. And these Venezuelans them coming here and they living normal. Some of them like they living better than me. And I trying to figure out, but where these people and them funds and income coming from.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Right.
These people and them just in the best. But I tell people, no disrespect to the Indian community on your life. But I just saying it how I see it. When I was in Canada, Lennox, last year, when I exit the plane, I asking myself, but wait now, but like I take the wrong plane because I walking off the plane and I hearing the Hindi language. And I say, but wait now, but like I in India, boy. So I say, but how here so much Indian people? So when I reach my cousin's house now and I ask her, I say, what? I say, cause I say the last time I was here, I noticed it had plenty Indian, but this time I came back, it had more Indian people than ever. Everywhere you turn, it is Indian. And I was like, where is that? And then I get to understand, and over the years, Canada has had the student visa and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, they say like it had a loophole in the system where the Indian community from India take advantage of it, right? Because I was seeing some videos, and even when I was across, it have some white people that's be going in this people and them temple close by and videotaping them when they bathing by the rivers and stuff. And like some of the white people and them in Canada in like how it has so much Indian influx in Canada. I say all of that to say this. The Spanish and them found a loophole in our porous borders and they're taking advantage of it. Right. And the same way how I see these people and them, the Indian community from India take over Canada, is the same thing is going to happen with these Venezuelans and them here in Trinidad. They found a weak point in our system and they're taking advantage of it. In the next 5 to 10 years, black people will be like dinosaurs. We got to go in a museum to see what black people look like in Trinidad just now.
Well, a person from Los Angeles, in fact, just called, was just making a similar proposition, a similar assumption. Of course, and he gave us an anthropological, of course, anthropology, of course, is where human beings originated from, and of course, their social interaction and how they spread out, of course, across the globe. And you are making a similar one, but in a different way because of that. But I also, today, I was reading something with respect, of course, to the Indian diaspora. That is how, of course, the president incidentally got her award from that. I forget the name of the occasion or the ceremony where they offered to the diaspora persons who made their name from Indian origin. But I also took note that a substantial part of the world's population are made up of Indians as well. I was shocked and I was attracted by the figures, by the numbers. So it appears that the Indian diaspora or the Indian continent itself has been, of course, making themselves migrate in such a way so as to occupy parts of the world that one may not even know about. Never put it that way. So, but yeah, good for them. Good for them. The Africans should be doing the same thing as well as of course the Trinbagonian as well, having regard, of course, to the poor performance of this administration, the PNM having, of course, scuttled our resources and mismanaged. I keep saying we should be, of course, the Singapore of the West or the Dubai of the West, having regard to the amount of resources that was made available to us, but passed through our bowels, as I said earlier, like a dose of salt. But go ahead.
Yeah, Lennox Smith.
All right.
So I want to talk to the African supporters of the PNM.
Yes.
All they need to start to open all their mind to the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
All right. All right.
The PNM government was never for black people.
Okay then. All right. Well, we have some more people on the line, so I want to cut short. I need to catch as much people as possible, but we get it just.
Before I go, Lennox,
Go ahead.
Read it call me some time ago. Lennox, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, yes.
I'm reading it. Right,
Yes.
so I tell you, I want to do some work and stuff for my car, and I have a little debt I have to pay back. So as soon as I clear off that debt, I go deal it all, right?
Beautiful, no problem, man.
So
No problem.
Right, I go call you off here sometime. And
Yeah, we know you are a man of your word. All right, thanks.
Yeah. Right, look.
All right, a pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good
Hey,
night.
Let me again.
Yes, go ahead.
Listen, one thing I had to say, I come off you.
Go ahead.
I forgot to tell you. Is that since that topic come up with that lady on the PN, what's her name, Morris?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Morris Julian.
Do you know, Morris Julian? Do you know? I don't know if you heard that. So I don't know if you heard that. So I don't know. I didn't hear you mention that. The people that the lawyer guy with the kill and his wife. Komoto.
Yeah.
Do you know? Is he related to the one?
They're related?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't aware of that. In fact, I have not.
I'm aware of that. Try and investigate that because I'm here and aware and I've gotten from people talking.
All right, good.
That person that they kill is related to that woman get killed. So something.
Yeah, something in the motor more than the person. Yeah, something in motor more.
So I just let you know.
Even with that fire as well, which we are still, of course. We don't want to.
I was telling for the beginning.
We don't want to engage in too much speculation of a conspiracy theory nature, but I mean there's something wrong, as we said from the beginning. Yeah. So later.
But that's why I tell you to inform you that that person.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That lawyer.
Yeah. Bye bye. Let's go to. Oh boy. Sorry about that. All right. Let's go straight to the line. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Good night. Welcome to the corridor. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
Yes. Good night to you.
Now I stopped calling because I banned myself.
No problem.
But I want to tell you this.
Problem. It must have been something important.
I want to tell you this tonight.
All right, go ahead. Just a bit.
It have a fella they call
Trev caller.
Then I think that's his name.
Hold on. I have another caller on the next line. Go ahead, Miss Venezuela.
Yes, it have a fella on the chat, sorry. His name is Trev then. Well, that man like to talk shit.
Right.
From night to night, there's only shit he does talk.
I hear you.
I just be on the chat.
Right.
I don't call in.
Okay.
I don't call in as you know. But anytime I say something that makes sense, he like to come on my case.
Right.
And other people too, But he like to come on in my case.
Okay.
Right? Tell your people and them like Judy Ali and thing. Don't tell me anything because when I start on them, they just can't take it. And they're talking about they have to complain to you. I have to make them know you can't cut my ass.
That's
you
right.
understand?
That's right, of course, but I could admonish. You know,
I quite an
I could admonish, I could beg, I could, of course, beseech.
Watch me.
I could advise.
I quite an arima.
Yes.
And you in Port of Spain and you have your wife.
Yeah.
Good?
I hear you.
No. One of them, I think, is the Judy Ali. Tell me, all I just want to talk is about OAS.
All right. Yes.
This is why we end up in shit street. Because we never approach the OAS for help.
All right.
You see? Because when you sleep, right?
Yes.
And you don't have water these days in your house and you fall asleep or you play lazy, you hear the water come in the pipe and you know you're hearing it running, but because you're lazy, you like sleeping, time you get up, the water gone.
Yeah, there's biblical
so now
basis
it's too
for
late.
that. The biblical basis, I remember the wedding where the fellas who didn't have oil in the lamp, they didn't have the extra oil.
The woman, the virgins and them.
Yes, and they lost
They
out,
didn't have, right.
Yeah.
So, it's too late for that now. You see, look at how much things come and happen. Look at this now. We have 2 prime ministers. Yeah? I saying that in style. 2 prime ministers are interim prime minister.
We did say that they are going to collapse, they are going to converge, and we are seeing that.
Them ain't collapsing at all. You see what happened there today? All of them had to agree because they're together. They ain't separating. They call the thing.
Well, yeah, we know that
before
the 30
that,
pieces of silver, 30 pieces
yeah,
of
but
silver
it's
will
not
cause
that
that.
we
will
know,
cause
we
that to
know.
be. So
It's
that's
not
all right.
that we know,
yes,
we
know. I'm saying
Right.
we know that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
But
so
we
let's not waste
mustn't
time.
say that.
Yeah.
We must take action.
Of course.
It's how much people vote for the UNC. How much thousands of them vote. All of that I was texting. Sensible thing.
Right.
Let these
Yes.
people come out and protest for all these kind of things.
Yeah.
But when your belly yellow, it's weak.
Yeah, but of course,
You have all
there are many
them
ways,
people there. And
many
they
ways
can't,
to
you
skin a
can't call
goat.
them out as a leader.
Yeah, but as you know, there are many
As
ways to
a
skin a goat.
leader, she's supposed to call them out. They will get strength.
All right.
Right?
All right.
When our opposition is weak and they can't say, come out, let's do so and so, the followers don't follow.
All right.
Right?
Well, thanks very much
So,
for that
take
intervention.
bull.
Yeah. Okay then. Thanks very much. Let's go to the lines. Pleasure, good night. Welcome. Sorry for the delay. But go ahead. Yes.
This is Diego Martin inside.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Diego Martin.
All right. Fix or repair daily. That is a Ford,
Yeah, Ford, yes. that vehicle boy you're going through that is a curse.
Yeah.
That's something like only.
You hear what Rex Chicolingo, who is resident in Canada, had to say, a fix and repair mayor of Arima. He had to fly to Canada to cool off what Rex Chicolingo has accused them of.
All right, okay.
You haven't seen the video?
No, I haven't seen it. Send it to me if you can. Because I did more resting today because the boy was extremely mentally and psychologically fatigued.
Okay.
But I had to come on tonight because I'm committed. But go ahead.
Right. He gave a history of the fix and repair daily.
Okay.
He said that fix and repair daily was married to his sister, Dawn Tekolingo.
I see.
And something went on with his mother, wasn't taken in time to be medically treated.
Mm-hmm.
So the Inunions and the Explosion said that when he reported it to the police, the police didn't investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
And KCR and Fix and Repair Daily apparently come up with the idea to send him out of the country when that was a topical. So you have to listen to that. If I have it, I will send it to you.
I would appreciate that. Would appreciate it.
You will see it. But the other thing I want to talk about now, and I've mentioned it already, it took us to the doorway of Haiti, right?
Uh-huh.
It took us to the backyard of Venezuela. Now they're installing a new potential leader of the PNM. And because of his foul mouth and what comes out, it tells me we are heading to the domestic Sodom and Gomorrah.
I hear you, my friend.
Right in Balize House, 3rd floor. That is where we have ended up because they haven't done anything to clear the name with the Sabga report or the Judah Jones report.
Right.
So that will sully them. So I am saying if, as a country, we don't vote them out, we could end up like a domestic Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, you, my friend.
And I'm going to send you that with Rex.
I certainly will. I certainly will appreciate it, and I'll take a look at it tonight, self, and try to get it in tomorrow night. All right?
Okay, good.
Okay,
nice.
no problem. Thank you very much. Of course, a pleasant good night. Welcome, and all the best to you, my friend, for the new year.
Same to you, man. Same to you.
Yes, man.
Lennox, you notice what taking place in Venezuela?
Well, of course, there is a inauguration of the new president finally. Well, as a new president, very what I consider to be, sarcastically. But of course, they also have arrested the remaining section of the opposition there, the female part. Of course, the the substantive opposition leader who contested, of course, the elections, and from all indication, won it, is now exiled in Spain. And of course, there is protests going on in Spain as a consequence of what has transpired in Venezuela. But go ahead.
Yes. Well, we have to look out. We have to watch out. We have to brace ourselves. The same thing could happen here. Because Rowley and Maduro is friend.
Yes.
And Rowley following Maduro footsteps. Right? So, we have to be careful. And you see what Miss Arima was saying there just now, Lennox? Mm-hmm. You have to let these callers on them. It's a long time I on the program and I'm watching what's going on and I'm reading everything. They're starting to make no blasted contribution on the program. They're just trying to fight one another. You don't like somebody? And I keep saying it, I say the same thing on the ground report. Make all your contribution and go about all your business now, man. Why you fighting down people and using all kind of insultive word against them and things? That is not what the program is for. The program is for you to explain yourself to what taking place. Let people know what happening in your community or around you. And it's a fight down, because somebody ain't like somebody and somebody feel they is number one and this kind of thing. We ain't want this thing. We want supporters, and every supporter contribution is important, right? Because we would need these same people to come out on the street, and when you embarrass them and insult them now, you wouldn't have that support, right? So people, this is Mr. Freeport telling everybody, keep all your blasted mouth, disrespectful mouth, and hand and fingers and whatever to all yourself. Leave the callers and them, leave the texters and them to make their contribution and support the program. Take care, Lennox. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, of course, for that piece of admonition. And of course, I beseech, but I am certain that I don't have to say that we have reached a critical juncture where the Prime Minister, whosoever he may be, must call the general elections anytime after August 27th, when, of course, the Parliament must be prorogued. And let me tell you how dangerous, if we don't make the right decision, is. This clearly will be done in an atmosphere where just some few months afterwards we have to decide on a budget, and there's a specific time. So therefore the election must be called within that period. Understand that. And therefore what we were waiting for, it's exactly that, when of course all of the, what I consider to be the frills and the unnecessaries and the irrelevance and the OCOs and the recriminations and the I better than you scenario no longer subsists. It is about survival. It is about doing what is required in order to save Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is the issue. Personality, irrelevant. Irrelevant. Who could talk better than who? That is irrelevant. That has nothing to do with the index finger and, of course, going out there and telling people, listen, the PNM, of course, is toxic, they are evil, they are diabolical, and, of course, your experience would tell you that, but at the same time, we are reinforcing because it has been my experience. That is what is required. But let's go to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome.
The only enemy we have is the PNM. The only enemy we have is the PNM.
Yes. Sorry about that. I thought you were off. Sorry. I have another caller. A pleasant good night. Oh, let me just make sure that I have the. Just a minute. All right. Okay. Okay, good. A pleasant good night.
You hear me, Lennox?
Yeah, loud and clear now. Thank you.
Right. The opposition leader,
Yes.
he leaves Spain and he go to Argentina. You hear me, boy? Something wrong.
Oh, Argentina. Argentina,
Yeah, he
is
go to
it?
Argentina, they can't touch him there.
Oh, the one that contested, did he go to Spain? He is now with Argentina, is it?
Yeah, in Argentina.
Okay, he, not she, right? Because
And the woman was in America.
all right, no, she. All right, oh, okay, but I but probably have it wrong because my information is that she was partially arrested. Donald Trump said that she mustn't be harmed, etc. And then, of course, my understanding is that the fellow who contested would have been in Spain in the safety of the Spanish authorities, having sought asylum. But let's see. Okay, go ahead.
Go to Argentina now. He's safer there.
All right, okay then. All right.
Right? He's safer in Argentina.
Okay.
And if Trump said they mustn't touch the girl, they
Yes.
can't touch.
Of course. I think they let her go on the just on the cusp of the, I suppose the formal coronation. I say is a kind of queen king business, a royal exercise where you have a coronation, because Maduro cannot think himself as a true president. He seems to believe that he's a king, therefore he can rule in spite of the wishes of the people. But go ahead.
You know they increase the monkey on them to 25 million.
They increase it? No, I wasn't aware either. All right, okay. Well, that is
25 million US now.
Okay, 25 million US. From 15 to 25. All right, I don't 10. Okay.
Venezuela, they can go kill you.
Yeah. Obviously, people will want to collect that money. That money is a billionaire to anybody in Venezuela, yeah?
Of course. All right, Father. Tomorrow?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So I'll follow up on all of those issues that I may not be familiar with. I don't like to be left out, so to speak, and I like to be in a position to confirm or certify and therefore the veracity of what we say here, because after all, our main theme is what? Nothing but the truth. And I say, and I add to, so help me God, as an oath. But that being as it may, let's go straight to the line again. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night. Lennox, good night. How are
good
you,
night.
sir?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Not too bad.
All right.
I have two little issues or two one suggestion and
no problem.
Right. So the first one is,
yes.
Let me go forward.
Go ahead.
We have a prime minister, which is Kamala, and she is the prime minister. She got voted in democratically. She's the prime minister as of today. Tomorrow, all Venezuelans must be sent back to their country. She must pick them up, see what it has to be done, do whatever it is, and start from there. I believe this is what I think she should
I hear you. As a foreign policy or as a regional
that's
policy.
The first step, right? So first step in that is to take out all who has to be out. Then the next thing is that I believe that let me go forward. So she deals with that. So let me go forward again. We keep moving forward, right? So let's say this is for the MPs now. Now let's say you have an MP in where you are in Labantel.
Yes.
Your MP win.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, now your MP now is we have a thing like on a MP on a Thursday. You could go and see your MP on a Thursday. But let me get rid of that. Because you don't get sick on a Thursday. You get sick anytime. Right? So let me say in your constituency you need your road fixed. You cannot, I'm telling you cannot as an average person see an MP. You cannot see them. You won't see them. Your councillors, you mightn't see them either. Because why? History has shown that when they become a part of the government, you don't see them until election time. If you can't believe that, Lennox, that's how it operates. So let me do something now. Let me fix it. And how I think we should fix it, the same office that they will have in each area. Let's say you have a problem with your road. You go to that office any time of the day, any time of the week. I mean, obvious, 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever hours. And you make your formal complaint. Don't go to the different, how you call these places that when you go there, you could,
You're talking about the ministries? The various ministries?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't go to the ministries, you don't go to these little areas that they have all in Laventille, the little areas. You don't go there. You go to your little office, your consultancy office, and you tell them, okay, I have a problem with the road between, let me say, Erica Street is bad. I have a road so that person now takes that information, and that person who's taking that information now will be able to filter it to the right person or to the MP in your area. So they now will have a listing of what it is wrong with them. Because let me tell you something. Some of the MPs would not know what's happening in their constituency. Some MPs doesn't know what is going on until it reaches the mass media. In other words, all the media and everybody's talking about they never fix road and this and that. So if they do that, they will have
hold on. We have another caller. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you have a better idea what's happening in your constituency.
I hear you.
So I just saying maybe something like that could work.
All right.
Because
thank you very much.
All right. Okay. All right, Lennox.
Thank you. Yes. I just want to say quickly that because that is how it's supposed to work, but of course it does not. So I think that there needs a mechanism to probably motivate people to, of course, respond. But there's another element that I have explored in the context of Laventille that I will share with you after this call. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant night, Mr. Lennox, and all those who making the contribution on the chat need to keep it a little more respectable,
Yes. I agree with that. Yeah. That is why I do not pay attention to it. Before I used to, of course, at the end of the program, call the names of who were there and so on. But I prefer to listen to the complaints on air and then, of course, admonish as best as I can, because we have a common enemy, we have a common mission, we have a common determination, and of course we cannot be sidelined or in any way diverted from the purpose for which, of course, all of this has been, of course, organized with extreme time sacrifices, both financial and family. But go ahead, my friend.
All right, go ahead, my friend. There are certain individuals on the chat who I do sometimes read their messages, and it's a real turn off now, but you understand, okay. There's a guy by the name of Slimy.
All right, okay. I'm going to ask my assistant to take a note of that. So I'll ask them to monitor, because my monitoring system in studio has broken down. So I hope that I'll get it fixed maybe during the course of the week. But nonetheless, the hand phone, they can, of course, use their own smartphone and get the information, because, I mean, it is all over the place in terms of the program. So I will make a request from my assistant, wherever she is, to, of course, take note of some of those comments. I know too it is silly season, and the mischief makers or the trolls, and they will start, of course, to come out from their Zandoli holes, and that too, of course, very conscious. So I am not too perturbed, but as I say, if it is downright nasty, then of course we need to, of course, make some kind of adjustments. All right. Hello.
Hear what?
Yeah, good night, Uncle Lennox.
Hold on, caller. Hold on, Wasa. This man in for the jet. Go ahead. Hello? All right, it seems as though...
Hello, good night.
All right. Go ahead, Wasa. Look as though he's finished.
Yeah, good night, Uncle Lennox.
Yeah, go ahead. Wow.
Yeah.
There's some problem. Go ahead, you go ahead and talk, Wasa. Go ahead. Just getting a little issue here. Yeah.
what it will take the government and the opposition to pass some draconian laws when it comes to firearm and ammunition? What is the problem? Why they can't establish some draconian laws, 30 years in prison, and them kind of thing?
Mr. Cruz, hold on.
Where's the kickback with this?
Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
What you are asking me the question? What do I think that is holding them back?
Because I don't understand. Is mayhem going on in this country, right? You have a law association now talking now because the members, the colleagues, being victims at the same gun crime, and nobody in talking. Why do not pass some draconian laws when it comes to firearm and ammunition?
Well, let me tell you something. You will be surprised. There are draconian laws. They have revised the law, and of course the fine is hundreds of thousands. You're talking about jail is 25 years and more, etc., etc. There's no more that is at the disposal of our government that could be more draconian than that. And but what you should be focusing on is those who are charged with responsibility to resource the police themselves to, of course, engage much more what I consider to be strategically, rather than engage in public relations, where, of course, the question of investigation, the question of charges, the question of prosecution, the question of having enough evidence so that people could really make jail, etc., and pay those fines and so on. That is where it has fallen down.
Uncle Lennox, it a man paying 5,000 for the first offense, 5,000 for fine for firearm. It a man getting 6 months. That can't be real. That can't be real. That can't be real.
More draconian than what exists.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 35 years.
But do you think that will help?
Uncle Lennox, you have to send a message, Uncle Lennox.
Yeah,
you have to send a message.
Just now, under Pandey, we have had, of course, the removal from international agencies such as the one of the agencies that deals with the Americas.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something before I go, because I want to give the next caller a chance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me make a comparison. The amendment concerning the marijuana thing would have no, right?
Yes.
People only study the warnings or the 30 grams and thing, right? Most people have only studied that partner. If they catch you with 60 grams and more in the vicinity of a school, a recreation ground, a bar, or any public place, the fine is $250,000, right? Or 35 years in jail.
Right. Do we have
so where the parity lies
in the Firearms Act? We don't have that. Something like that in the Firearms Act?
No, I talk about in the Marijuana Act.
I know.
If they catch you with 60 grams.
Same thing in the Firearms Act. We don't have that?
No, we don't have that kind of fine and that jail term for firearm.
All right, I'll have to check it because I know that
there was
a recent amendment. All right.
Yeah.
But we were removed from the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights and the OS and so on in order to, of course, implement the hanging. You can't be more draconian than that under the Pandey administration, and of course murders continue to escalate. So you understand why I'm making the point as to whether or not that is what should be done, or we should have, of course, a police service that is much more efficacious and much more aggressive in order, of course, to implement, because you can have it on the books.
State of emergency. Everybody know that state of emergency is not the answer.
Right.
It's stiffer penalty and a message has to send to these fellas and them, because these fellas them don't care, like they understand any timing.
All right.
They're not understanding timing.
All Okay.
You understand? I'll look on and listen.
No problem. All right, go ahead, Mr. Aluku. Sorry about that, but we had a little thing.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right, Lennox.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lennox, good night again to you and to everybody.
Yeah.
Lennox, I did send you that video with Rex Chicolingo, and I send it back again for you tonight.
Okay, good.
Right?
Good.
I did send it for you
tonight,
before.
Yeah.
Take a read.
All right.
Yeah, take a listen. Take a listen where he's at. Lennox, I know the family very well.
Okay.
Right? Because we all grew up in the same area of Maraval.
Okay.
Right? And all these years, we never knew that his mother's death was questionable.
Okay.
Until I heard that video. I heard that video from him. I never knew that.
All right.
Right? And we all know the family, you understand? Because we all grew up in the school and all this thing together. And I never knew that. So I sent it back for you.
Okay.
I also sent you a video with Trevor Sayers. Now, we know sometimes his elevator don't go all the way up. But this video that he made, he likes somebody I know on the chat. The elevator don't go all the way up. Right? Anyway.
Go ahead. I like
Anyway.
I just smile at these terminologies, so don't feel that it's making a mockery or anything like that. But go ahead, yes.
No.
Yeah, I have a thing for these kinds of nice phrases, yeah.
And whoever the shoe fit, they could wear it. Yeah, we know his elevator don't go all the way to the top, right? We know. Yes. We know the lights are on, but nobody's home. But this video that he made, Lennox, he was lucid. Apparently, he took his meds and he was lucid. And he really let the PNM have it.
Okay.
He really must take Lennox.
Okay.
He really let the PNM have it. I tell you, Lennox, everybody coming out. Everybody's coming out and talking.
Yes.
Now, if it is that we didn't know about the 9/11, right? The 9-4 and 11, 11-4 and 9 against. They could have gotten away with what it is they did today. And as Tagorico was telling you, if you had seen the look on Foster Cummins' face, you could see that he just pretended for the camera. He's shaking Stuart Young's hand. And Stuart Young tried so hard to make it look as though I am your buddy.
Yeah, they're very good at antics. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, and you could see the expression on that man's face. But Lennox, here, yesterday, I went to my clinic at the St. James Infirmary. So I got there at 6:20. We sat down there, we talking. This lady talking that, she's saying not because you vote for a party and they're doing something wrong, you're going to turn a blind eye to it. She said, I voted for the PNM, but you see what Rowley did with the pensioners and the amount of money he wanted to take for himself? I cannot handle that. She said, I'd rather not vote. So I wish all them PNMites don't vote. Okay. Anyway, one of the things that got me annoyed with her, right? She is telling us, I and next lady and a gentleman from Tobago, that Kamala took away $500 from pensioners. I said, no, ma'am, you're wrong. Kamala never did that. And when the other two people chime in, they said, no, she never did anything like that. As a matter of fact, when she came in, she raised the pension to $500.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Right? So there's nowhere in the history of Kamala taking away anything from anybody, unlike what Rowley and them doing to people. So you see, Lennox, how they out there with a misconception, right? That Kamala do this and Kamala do this. But they're not looking at all the good things that Kamala did. Not once did Kamala take anything from anybody. And who want to argue that with me, or like, bring it on. I will tell all you how, right? Because that is a lie, Lennox. Yeah. She never did that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, and let me tell you something.
She was helping.
The people who are talking that knows that, They know that, They know it, but it is about mischief making, and it is about, let's say, artificial denial. That's all, because when they go home, they have a conscience.
Exactly. But Lennox, you see, sometimes when I make my contribution, I talk to you, I mention, about sowing seeds of doubt.
Yes.
It's a sad, sad thing. It's a sad, sad thing when there's lie, make mischief, and then go in other places and say, you know, I didn't do this, or that one do it and the other one do it. That is a sad thing. You see people like that, Lennox, they need serious help. Serious help. Because you can't tell me as a big woman, you listen to all the lies that keep Rowley telling all day, and you know differently. It's a sad thing. Lennox, thanks a lot again and have a good night.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Of course, Weiss, of course, she was no. You see, because for me, it is a given that of course Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Put another way, no one can seriously respond to the question: what has Kamala Prasad Bisesa taken away that the PNM provided that will give the basis to deny her the opportunity to be Prime Minister again? Let me repeat. What has Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC took away that the PNM had provided that will cause anyone to deny her another term, and the UNC, of course, another term in office come the 2025 elections? The answer is obvious. It's a rhetorical question. That's why I do not beat up or in any way focus on that kind of level. And then I always refer to persons who are making up their own narrative to suggest something that is no reality. All I have to say, and don't get me vexed before I play tonight, when the question was asked of Rowley whether the people of Trinidad and Tobago are better off under the PNM between 2015 and of course now than they were, or at least at the time when he was supposed to respond to the question, than they were under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Rowley take his mouth and his tongue and his whole face and say that if milk and honey was flowing under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, you had to be a fool not to be better off. Come on. So I am not perturbed. And that is the reference we must give to them, because they conjure up their own feeling, and it is as a result of Rowley and they as well. That's why these people feel they have liberty to talk this level of hogwash and disseminate disinformation, misinformation, because Rowley and they will, at the same breath, say that Kamala and they were corrupt, etc., etc., given not an iota of the evidence. We have, of course, shown you, whether it be, of course, the 106 schools that was proven to have been, of course, either constructed or under construction. And they have not been able, as far as mega projects are concerned, to identify a single corrupt act in relation, of course, to the velodrome, the aquatic center, and the Cuba or Children's Hospital. I still call it that because Kamala will have to, of course, go back and rename it again because Rowley and they have unnamed it. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night again, Lennox.
Yes, good
Lennox,
night to you. Yes.
One of your callers just mentioned something, and it's troubling, and it's making me feel I agree with him 100%.
Go ahead.
Is that he mentioned that new laws should be, as long as you have a weapon and you get caught with the weapon, you serve an automatic 20 years in jail. Hard thing. That is it. No bail until after 20 years. One bullet, one gun, you have it in your possession. No questions asked. Because we have to do that, because remember, when these people and them go in and they come back out, and a life is taken, and is maybe your family, friend, whoever, you will be saying, why this person is still outside? Why this person, they hold them, why they release them? And let me go that way. We have to go that way. There's other, I believe you should know, I mean, I stand corrected that there's countries that does these things. If you have a weapon or whatever, and they hold you with that, you're serving a certain time, and that's it. You understand? We have to go that way. We cannot be Lennox. There's too much of lives being lost. Too much of lives being lost. So I just want to let you know that caller before who mentioned that with weapons and stuff, harder penalties. So let's think about that. I mean, if it's on the books, if it's not, put it on the books. But Ms. Santa Cruz, special good night to you. I love hearing your contribution, and hopefully one day I'll definitely be seeing you. Hopefully. All right, Lennox. Good night again.
Yes, my friend. I have a comment to make on that gun issue and that, of course, draconian. Because whilst we were speaking, I was looking up at some information. So I'll share it with you in a while. I'm not certain that if it had found its way in legislation, because the opposition, I think, would have had to play a part in it. But I'm just going to share it because I have found it, and therefore I will share it. But whether or not it is on the books itself, I will have to do some further, let's say, research. But go ahead, caller. Pleasant good night.
Hello, good night. Yeah, this is Wayne from San Fernando.
Oh gosh, San Fernando, I'm now looking at the time. It's 32 minutes past 10 o'clock. Wow.
Yeah.
And these people have me going and going and going. I know what they call the battery, ever ready. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I just want to say one thing about the gun law.
Yeah, the gun law. Go ahead.
The problem with that is that they're not going after the big fishes who bringing in the weapons.
Yes.
Because if you get that under control, we will have less guns on the street. So
I agree. We don't produce it here. We don't produce them here. Yes. Both guns and the ammunition. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you remove the guns from the streets, right, that will eliminate a lot of things.
Yes.
And to do that, you're going after the big fish to stop them from bringing in the arms.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? That's where I'm going now.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Of course, one of the things I wanted to do tonight was, of course, to show. But I'll say it briefly before, of course, I take a read of the information that I just found on the internet. But let me just say that three things I wanted to talk about tonight, as far as, of course, the Laventille and getting them aware and ready to make the paradigm shift that is required at this point in time, and to be part and parcel of history, and no longer must they be lagging or in any way unaware of the factors that can make the PNM relegated to the dustbin of political history in this country, because it is right having exploited Laventille and environment. A pleasant good night. Just lower your background. Your background is interfering with the program.
Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, no problem.
Mr. Lennox, listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to find out something. Listen, and we have the hanging laws established on the books.
Yes, they are on the books. They are on the books. A person can be
I have another question. I wouldn't be long. I have another question. Right? So what happened? We have to sign off on international things like that, to sign off on things before we start having people in this country.
There's a case out of Jamaica that has scuttled all of that, or have those who are pro-hanging have been dealt a serious blow. That is the Pratt and Morgan case, where, of course, it is said that it is cruel and unusual punishment if within 5 years a person who may be on death row is not hanged, and typically it goes beyond 5 years to get a person hanged. Why? Because there are a number of international and regional institutions, such as the Pan American, of course, Pan American Convention on Human Rights, and we have a number of other agencies, including, of course, the OS and the United Nations, that human rights lawyers go to in defense or in defending or appealing to prevent, of course, the hanging, and that takes them over 5 years, and so it is considered to be cruel and unusual punishment, and so it is remitted, of course, to life in prison, and the possibility of bail if the person, does right according to the institution that they are jailed in. They could maybe spend a couple of years still outside if the mercy committee, there's a mercy committee that looks at these cases and deem whether or not the person has done what he or she has to do and be released in such circumstance. But the fact is that they cannot be hanged.
Listen.
Yeah.
All right, listen quickly. You see, what I'm looking at is the fact that I remember in the Pandey administration, Ramesh Miraj, and in Pandey's administration, they did hang some persons, and I remember as clear as daylight that when those persons get hung, I think the country was very quiet for about a month or two, The criminals like they get a shell shock, at that point in time. So I was wondering if we still had to continue to sign off to these international bodies to deal with these criminals. Because look where they're going after the judiciary, right? They're going after the judiciary,
No, I'm telling you what Ramesh did is withdraw Trinidad and Tobago from the OS, from the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights, and of course a number of other UN charters for which we, as a civilized society and a country, has signed up on, and what we had as a consequence was a tremendous amount of goodwill loss as a consequence of that. So whilst those 8 persons, including Dolchedi, were hanged in that period, the rest of the world was seeing us as barbaric, inhumane, and as you rightly said, for a couple of months, but it did not stop the onslaught. And that is the argument of the anti-hanging lobbyists and human rights lawyers that will go to all these lengths to make certain that the human being who committed such heinous crime is not at least hanged. And they prefer, of course, the commuting to life in prison as opposed to hanging. Yeah.
Okay, I'll listen off here, Mr. Lennox. Thank you very much. God bless.
No problem, man. No problem. Yeah, so we got a lot of bad name and licks for that. I think we are back on now, and therefore, of course, it will be difficult to talk. But let me go straight, of course. Yeah, let me just give you the 3 things that I want to talk about. I was saying that Laventil, there is a need for us to understand that there are people like myself who have, of course, engaged the human development and the capacity building of these communities, starting with Laventil, because I always feel that you solve the Laventil question, you solve, of course, the crime, productivity, people feeling alienated, etc., etc. If you solve the Laventil question, there's one question. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because, let's face it, it's the only community that international advisory will say, don't go George Street, don't go Laventil, don't go. These countries, whether it be United States, Canada, and so on, already know these places. So that is why I have been discriminating against other parts of the country. And of course, it is the place that has the higher than national average murders. Well, that has been reduced now, but higher than national average school dropouts, higher than national average teenage pregnancy, higher than national average truancy, people who, of course, don't want to go to school. And if you doubted me, let the Ministry of Education, when they made the announcement that some, was it about 11,000 or 6,000? I can't remember the exact amount. Yeah, I think it was 15 or 9,000 thereabout. It doesn't matter what the amount is, but they said that they can't find them. They can't find those students that were registered before COVID, and when they resumed classes after COVID, you can't find them. I think it's 9,000. They can't find them. And I bet you bottom dollar, that the vast majority of that 9,000, whatever number that they couldn't find to get back into the school system, so they lost in the school system, is from Laventille and environs. From Laventille and environs. And I also, as I predicted, when they couldn't, of course, get a handle and to indicate by way of capturing some of these persons who are engaged in home invasions, whether it's in Central, whether it's in El Socorro, whether, of course, it's Deep South, etc. And I told some people, I didn't say it on air, but I now can say it because it has happened, that if you're looking for them, bet your bottom dollar, the vast majority of them would be from Laventille and environs. And the indication came when there was a home invasion in El Socorro. And the police were alerted because the community was alerted, and they saw, and therefore they alerted the police, and the vehicle that was used or stolen, I believe, from that particular area was found, of course, on St. Joseph Road in Laventille. Yeah. So you understand my point. If it is that we have to solve the problem of crime and criminality, you have to focus on these communities. But within those communities, there are people who are doing yeoman service unrecognized and without the financial support. And the state has a responsibility. What they will do, however, in order, of course, to get, like what, of course, Ms. Santa Cruz said, they will get to look for papers and, of course, a photo opportunity. They will give organizations who claim to be addressing the problem, the socioeconomic and psychocultural problem of these areas, such as Serval, such as Living Waters, and such as St. Vincent de Paul, and the other big names that, of course, are managed by those who are part of the upper echelons of the society and have access to politicians and to bankers and to, of course, credit unions and to other insurance entities that have monies that they could, of course, give to them. But how come the blasted problem still remains and is our concern? What, in other words, a person like me will ask what the hell Living Waters is doing with the monies that the state provides and, of course, other institutions, because they make the rounds and they take up all of the money. And when, of course, the ordinary organization, whether it be, of course, a football team, whether it be a community organization, or whether it be a kindergarten initiative or after school or homework center initiative developed by the community elements that are there living and experiencing all of that. When you send it to a bank and asking for support, they either say they don't have, or they're not supporting, or they send you a little $500. But Living Waters and them, Serval, etc., are getting millions. Millions. And my question has always been, if you are saying that they alone are there to solve the problem, why the hell these other organizations within the community exist? And more so, by your policies and your programs, you're saying, in other words, big is best, and those who have influence must get. Well, how come the problem has escalated? How come? You have to be a damn fool to not understand that where there are the efforts of people risking life and limb, yes, they are risking life and limb, because the leaders of Living Waters and Serval and so on, they don't live in these communities. They go home to their safe communities, maybe gated as well. They don't walk on a daily basis among the population of Laventille, Beetham, Sealands, etc. They don't understand that. And therefore, it is foolhardy. It is stupid. It is a waste of time that you are emphasizing that they must be given, of course, the largest of the state, and those who have developed from within and in the bosom of the community by their sheer love for the community, and believe that somehow you mustn't give them anything. They mustn't get anything. And then, of course, you expect the problem to solve. Well, that is why it is escalated. I ain't finished yet, but of course, we give priority to the callers. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Good night once more again, Lennox. I did some research.
Go ahead.
And concerning the death penalty by hanging, we could, as you could say, rightfully say, I've been educated here on this program.
Yes.
So let me eliminate that. It ain't gonna happen. You know it ain't gonna happen.
Of course, I do that. But just tell you, yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Right. But we could do the gas. We could use the gas because the US is using the gas and other countries are using the gas. So we can start doing the books now for gas.
Well,
you understand?
I want to tell you what you're proposing results in debt, and that is what the issue is. Not
that's what I'm saying.
No, the gas will kill them, so therefore that is not a solution, because the issue will be the same.
Well, if the US using it up to this recent times, it's not to say they did back then in the 90s or the 80s.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm saying the issue is the killing of them, the killing, and the gas is skill, and the gas is skill, and hanging is skill. Well, is it killing
them? We're putting them to sleep.
Yeah, that's
we're putting them to sleep.
They are going to die, and therefore you can't bring back life, and therefore that is
God.
All right,
Lennox, we lost, boy, we lost.
Of course.
All right. Well, hey, give me one more before you go. Give me one more thing.
Go ahead.
Give me how you does I address the prime minister, and I go feel good. I go and sleep good now, as you say. The Kobo Scorpion, the Rapscallion, just give me some names. Let me feel good now, man. At least before the night up. All right. Bless it.
You're making more callers calling, this bunch of opportunistic, political, evil, diabolical parasites of a Kobo dimension, of total, not just parasite, but of course, a predator eating away on the carcass of political opponents or for their own aggrandizement. A pleasant good night to welcome. Oh boy, we have two calls now. Pleasant good night. Just hold on, Wassa. Let me just get this one here. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Hello? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Uncle Lennox, I sent the document. This is number 3. So you could, when I get time, read it for the school children, especially like the going reporter thing.
All right.
I think they need to get that message.
That is which one? That is which one? Tell me. What's that? Tell me. Which one? All right, okay. All right, okay. If you send a little note with it as well. Because I just found something there, so I wouldn't read it until, of course, I read yours. But go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
It's Lennox. What go on?
Yeah. Hello? Go ahead, caller.
Even Mr. Lennox.
Good night. Good day. All right, go ahead.
What, Mr. Lennox?
Yes. Tell me.
How things, man?
Well, of course, only hard work, it's 10 minutes to 11 already. I should have been off 50 minutes ago. But go ahead.
Yeah, man, we're there down at Jamaica, go and chill out, man. We're there in the
Oh yes,
barber
yes,
shop,
my
drink a beer.
Jamaican friend. But I can't dismiss you. I cannot be so rude. Yeah, but tell me quickly because we are closing up now.
Yeah, man, we're there go and drink a beer in the barber shop with a chillani in a week.
I hear you. Last night I had enough. I knew not that I'm a one day entertainment or recreation man. So I only do it on a Friday.
Okay. But outside of that, I want to speak to you on a matter, you know.
All right. Well, call me otherwise, you can call me during the day.
All right, then we call you during the day then.
Yeah, no problem, right? And we'll talk. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, people, you understand forgive me with my passion, but I sincerely believe, because of my experience and my work inside of those communities, that the transformation can take place. Really is an attitudinal change that is required. It is called a paradigm shift rather than the paradigm paralysis. That is why I said that higher than national average murders, higher than national average school dropouts, higher than national average young girls making children, higher than national average truancy, and I made the example with respect, of course, to COVID and those who they can't find in the school system, but the majority of them would be there. Higher than national average neglect of the infrastructure. Very, very bad. But it also presents an opportunity for work, if you should focus there. Higher than national average female single parents. Yeah. And of course, when we did the survey, etc., we saw that just about 2 or 3 lawyers resident there, no medical doctors. One fellow was, of course, training to be a pilot. But we have a lot, of course, police and firemen and nurses and so on. Those what I consider be middle-level professionals as opposed to the upper-level professionals. We have very few. And I say that place can be transformed to our counterpart east of us, like in St. Anne's and, of course, in St. James and Woodbrook, where on a daily basis you can see a doctor leaving his or her home, or a pilot. And with that kind of mix, and businessmen as well, of course, and bankers and so on, if you had that in that community, we have to be visionary. And we cannot say it is impossible. But if we have that kind of person or personnel living among us, what will happen is that advice is easy. Getting a job is easy because the person with the business, a young man just has to come to his door because it's his neighbor and so on. And then, of course, things will work out. Just as what happens in Woodbrook and St. James and St. Anne's and so on, and in other well-to-do communities, is that symbiotic relationship, that synergy, if we have the right. But what happens there is that as soon as a fellow gets a little opportunity and he's bright, you have the brain drain taking place, and he or she looks for greener pasture, whether locally or abroad. And I want to tell the government something as I close. I'm going to go until it's 54, so I can go until 11 o'clock. I want to tell the government something. You are making a monolithic and gigantic mistake by attempting to, of course, I won't say gentrify, I ain't going to reach there, but to take residents from the HGC buildings in particular that you have decided to break down, and parts of East Port of Spain and break down for some kind of rehabilitation or regeneration. Because I heard the Prime Minister talking about Queen Street being, of course, a latrine. I want to tell them that's a monumental mistake. Your policy should be containment as opposed to causing the migration by way of force. A transference of these people to different parts of the country. And what has happened already, as we have seen, of course, in Lahoketa and Maloney, etc., and the socio-economic and psycho-cultural, what I consider to be subterranean reality, where Arima, a once pristine and a once, of course, a very congenial community, has also turned into a crime hotspot because of the proximity or the nearness of Lahoketa and Maloney to that eastern borough. So there is ample example to show, and yet still recently, they, with a high degree of ignorance, meaning, of course, lack of knowledge and understanding, they displace those persons ignominiously, disrespectfully, humiliatingly, from Duncan Street in the corner there, just opposite the Columbus statue there, or Columbus Square, and send them to other parts of the country. You're institutionalizing the crime and criminality that has, of course, plagued, engulfed the Trinidad and Tobago, all the damn fools. And all they wouldn't listen, and will continue to make the same mistake. And you want me to pay any kind of attention to what transpired with a small group of persons who want to dominate and cannot, of course, manage the affairs of the country and are totally ignorant as to what is happening, as their mismanagement and their corruption and their nepotism and their quest to believe that somehow they are bequeathed, of course, the right to manage the affairs of the country towards disaster. No, not me. And I suggest not you too. It cannot be. Our young people, when we go, they will come. And if that is the order of the day, if that is the modus operandi, then heaven help us. And that is why I say to you, Lavantillians, get on board. Get on board. I'm talking here about geographic Lavantil. That will, of course, encompass Bitam, Silats, Chumakak, Bova, etc. And environs. East Port of Spain, Belmont. Get on board. Forget Short Young, forget Rowley, forget the blasted PNM, and understand that you have been hoodwinked and exploited for too damn long, and that therefore you must now make a decision in your own best interest for the salvation not only of your immediate family and your community, but Trinidad and Tobago. Understand that. Understand what the commitment is, what the task is. And the opportunity is here, because all the shenanigans, all of the camouflage, all of the to-ing and froing and hullabaloo, they must call elections this year. Must. Because it is legally so. Otherwise, all hell break loose. All hell. All hell break loose. They cannot impose themselves without your permission. Your permission is required, and your permission, as the Privy Council said, that Rowley and a small group of people, in fact, they went even smaller than what I would allocate to them by saying the cabinet of the country imposed on the people, claiming the right to say when people must, of course, vote. And how they must vote, when did they postpone the local government election? The Privy Council say that. Our apex court. What you don't understand what is happening here? They have attempted to capture government, but thank God there is, of course, a very viable and a very significant and a very conscious opposition that took the matter to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council, in spite of Rowley's, and put another way, in spite of that, you only went to the Parliament and said that they have not infringed anybody's constitutional right. This damn either a fool or he believes that in perpetuity he can continue, of course, to make asses of the population. As we are seeing now unfolding in the PNM itself. 30 pieces of silver, they are betrayers, they are perfidious, they are a collective. And all of us must know this, even if you don't know the meaning of perfidious, which of course is a blasted person who betrays. But everybody will know the term brought about by the man who betrayed Jesus Christ. Judas. All of them are Judases. That's not waste time. People is now, of course, 1 minute past 11 o'clock, and of course, just two more items I said. So we have that situation inside of that place. Inside of that place, we have, of course, people who have created educational facilities, people who have created financial institutions, and people who have, of course, understood the problem and therefore must rise to the political level. That is why the love was formed. I'm going to prove all of that to you. So people, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and see you tomorrow night. I hope we don't go to 11 o'clock and counting tomorrow night. Let us go, of course. Let us start with, of course, the admonition by Maestro. He's warning Trinbagonians. Listen to it, just in case at the beginning you didn't hear it. Listen to what Maestro says about Trinidadians. We must be focused and we must be decisive. We must be focused and we must be decisive.
Mr. Trinidad, tell me what's seen you on. Do you just like political confusion? You criticizing the way you live, yet you can't produce an alternative. You say you against the power structure. You ain't like the opposition either. But take care, you jump out the hot water and end up in the center of the fire. Because you refuse to vote in election. But then you want revolution. You're strongly against communism. You walk out on colonialism. You say Rick William had to go. But who do it? Story short from in front, Trinidadians really know what they want.
This tune was created, of course, in the 60s. Since then, decades pass. Listen.
My friend, if you don't want democracy, the opposite is guerrilla activity. If you don't want democratic improvement, you have to want a revolutionist government. And yet when Guy Harewood went in the hills with Jennifer Jones, you let them get killed. All you're doing is grinning and skylarking. You come like the ass in the lion's skin. Because you say Robinson is a traitor. You say what's than that about Ranger. You say Kamal seeking his own interest. You call Millet a Marxist Leninist. You are ODAC, neither DLP. And you say PNM is only ratchet field. Well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guys. Trinidadian, talking black power. It's not wrong for a man to love his culture. Yes, you walk around with your Afro plait and you're dragging as maggot and fat sapat. But although they're rapping about Africa, you're eating roti like if you're born in India. So who you go blame when you make your book and end up like a cat on a hunting room? Because you say you're going Afro all the way. You smile when they bring in Tony May. William say he want to retire. You beg him to stay a little longer. You reject Carl's act on public order. Now you want the same Carl for Prime Minister. Like your sense of reasoning goes and comes. It won't surprise me if you call back Albert Gums. You say that you didn't want your dictator, yet you want one fella to reign forever. Abbott Malik, you say he guilty. Parmasadi the same, yet you set him free. Long ago you didn't want Fidel Castro, but now you say the same Castro is a hero. Well, this attitude, like Humpty Dumpty, you might fall off the wall eventually. Because you say Butler was too high-handed, Steve Marriage uneducated. You say that we can't